Hello and welcome to this episode of Making Connections, the BattleCON analysis show where I, your host, Marco DeSantos, try my best not to do so badly at playing BattleCON online. In the previous video, we tried out Rukyuk and ended up playing real badly, but that's absolutely okay. In this episode, we're gonna play a few more characters that I think I haven't been playing a lot on this channel, so we need to feature them so that all of you can see some cool new stuff for those characters. Let's get into the match right now.
Nice to meet you.
Alright, so we're in game against Mellows 7. Mellow, welcome to the show, and apologies if I do badly. So Luke is the character we'll be playing today because I haven't really been playing Luke at all. My Luke is currently level 0. That means you need to have like way less than 4 games played on this character. And I don't think any of those have been on camera, so welcome to the Luke game. We're up against 7. This could be potentially dangerous because 7 has 2 bursts in the form of burst. Actually 3 things that really mess with me, right? She has remote, which is absolutely crazy. She also has reserved, which is also absolutely crazy. And she also has burst, which again is absolutely crazy. A matchup that I find to be very hard, in my opinion. I'm not necessarily the best Luke player though, so we'll have to see. Memento is now a bad card on beat 1, mostly because you need 2 time to use it. You might want to actually put down strike. This way we have the most amount of options. And we're gonna stasis charge for our finisher. Alright, so these seem to be decent 7 discards. My interpretation is that it's gonna be some sort of shot. It's gonna be a reserved play. Eternal seems to be the only decent play on beat 1. Eternal shot, I mean. I could also fainting burst, which isn't necessarily that bad. My only worry is that my opponent might do something like remote drive. And of course, the remote shot would still beat me. I could easily just fusion shot as well. This would beat a lot of her options. Actually, yeah, I do think I will fusion shot and then anti-1. That way remote drive doesn't get me.
This should be no problem at all.
Cheers.
This should be good. This should be fine. So the thing about Luke is that you need to know whether or not you're going to be anti-ing time on top of things. Because most of the time you want to preserve time. Other times you don't want to preserve time. I do want to anti-time here to clash the remote drive that I think may be coming. So I will pass. There you go. Exactly the remote drive that I was expecting. But now I have no recourse, I think. I Tyrankin tacticked. I thought about the clash, but I didn't think about the ensuing clash afterwards.
I'm not so sure about this.
There's no point. I have to dodge. That's unfortunate. I'll dodge here.
No escape.
Moving. Haha, take this.
Not necessarily a very good thing on my end, but that's still fine. 7 now has no range, so she's in the same boat as me. She has to drive into me to do anything. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in my book. I should actually just Eternal Strike. Ah, she could Detached Burst. But that's okay. I think I would beat a Detached Burst. So a Chrono Drive is a decent play right here. If it's a burst play, then I will use these 2 time to move forward and then drive into her. If it's not a burst play, I don't have to spend anything. I hit for 3 and 7 does whatever.
Wow, what a great idea.
Yeah, great idea. I will not spend anything. I will pass. Interesting. So here's the main thing about Luke. I could choose to spend. Of course I'm not, since my opponent's not bursting. Here's the simple thing about Luke that you have to know. If a beat happens and neither of us hit each other, Luke is winning, because you're gaining time. My opponent can't hit me if I just advance 1, so I will only advance 1 and not hit my opponent. I will not take a 3 to 5 trade. We will both simultaneously whiff. However, now I have 3 time instead of 2. And this is very relevant because now a lot of my plays become increasingly more scary. For example, now I can Memento. I guess I could Memento Shot, right? I can Memento Shot, and that's a decent play. I will, however, Eternal Shot. So here's the thing you have to realize about Luke as well, is that you can just play Eternal Shot and not spend any of your time tokens on it. And that is indeed my intention. I'm waiting for my opponent to drop Reserved. Reserved is very good against me. I want to get rid of it as fast as possible, actually. I will pass. See what my opponent antes. Nothing. Alright, there's the Reserved Drive. So the Reserved Drive will not stun me, and therefore I should not spend any time. This way I will have 4 time, and I trade 2 to 3. So I will not spend time, because it will not stun me. Poke. So my opponent can retreat. Very likely my opponent should retreat. Yes, there you go. At least 1 space.
Perhaps I gave you too much credit.
That's so mean!
It is very mean. Okay, perhaps a better Luke player would have anti-power on top. But I'm not the best Luke player in the world. So, I wouldn't know. My opponent has not been playing Burst a lot. I highly expect my opponent to play Burst here, because I have no options to beat said Burst. Except with a faster burst of my own, I guess. But even then, it would be really bad for me because we would end at opposite sides of the board. I could Fainting Burst, and if my opponent retreats here, I would still miss, so no, that's not a good idea. I think we should just Fainting Dodge, go up to 5 time tokens, and lord this over 7's head for the rest of the entire game. It seems like she is also dodging as well. Nope, it is a Remote Grasp. Alright.
Leave me alone.
So this is a very unfortunate situation for our enemy 7. So I will advance here.
No escape.
This will bring me into melee range. I will be forced to retreat 1, but it's okay. Opponent's range is 2 to 4. 3 to 4, my mistake. I'm forced to advance 1 because of fainting. And now we're at 5 times. 7 is in the corner. She can't really do much, right? Yep, it doesn't seem that she can do much. So here, I'm expecting her to dodge. And quite frankly, that's okay in my book.
This will surely get them good.
It's not like I can do much to counter this dodge. It's most likely this. The only way I can counter this dodge is by... Yeah, okay, so I will not do Fusion. Yeah, I'll probably switch Flash instead. Because if it's Fusion, what happens is she'll reveal Blue Dodge, get 2 Force out of it. No way am I giving 7 Force for free. I'm gonna anti... No, I'm expecting a dodge here, so I shouldn't anti. Oh, it was a Blue Absorption. Should have antied. But this is great. This is absolutely the move I wanted to do
So mean.
against her. Because Absorption heals her And you can't... Okay, so Absorption has Stun Guard specifically... sorry, I have to finish this. Keep current finisher card. So Absorption has Stun Guard 4, and it says you can't take more than 4 damage this beat, right? This means that 7... Right? This means that 7 has an ability to basically just mitigate payout beats. But because Flash ignores Stun Guard, I'm able to whack through Absorption's damage cap and Stun Guard and prevent her from healing life. So that was a decent beat for me.
This.
However, now my opponent is gonna do something absolutely crazy because they now have +2 power. I'm gonna Memento Strike here and deal so much damage that my opponent will go insane.
Take this.
So unless this is my opponent's dodge... So I need to ante 1 time. That way my fastest priority ties in clash with her drive. She passed. So I should pass. There you go. I will deal 9 damage to my opponent right now, which will go through her Stun Guard, because I can spend 3 tokens of Memento to double Strike's power and turn it into 8 power, plus the 1 power from the power ante. That's 9 total damage, going through the 8 Stun Guard and absolutely destroying 7. This 7 should be dodging way more often, in my opinion, especially against Luke. So now she has Reciprocate, which isn't really that scary. My opponent has this. It's relatively fast. I can just do Fusion. So one really cool move that I can do is Fusion Grasp right now, and because of the way the hit effects work, is that I can do the damage them for 2 first, and then push, and then pull, and all that stuff. Quite a useful move in my opinion, and it's actually faster than anything 7 can do right now. This actually also bypasses her thing, her Reciprocate, so that Reciprocate doesn't deal a lot of damage. I think this is good. It's also faster. It's also clashing with Excited. But if I ante 1 time, it won't clash with Excited. So I'll do that. And I won't anti-power.
Right back at you.
Yeah, it's Reciprocate. That's fine. Alright, so I hit for 2 damage. So the opponent at the edge of the board loses 2 life, yes. So this is very important because I'm bringing my opponent below 4 life, and that's what I want. I'm gonna fail to push the opponent. So this is a cool interaction in BattleCON, is that you always have to take a move if it's legal, but the order in which you activate your moves is entirely up to you, right? So in that situation, even if I couldn't push 7 anymore using fusions on hit effect, right? I still chose to take that. I ordered my effects. I ordered my effects such that I would do that first. It would fizzle because I can't push 7 anymore, and then Grasp would put her over me. Now, why would I do that instead of push 7 to space 3? Because I'm Luke and I want to be melee. That's the simplest answer that you can find. I'm Luke, so I can just play Fainting Dodge, and I'll be like, okay half the time. My opponent still does not have Absorption. And has no Soak style. Actually, I should probably just Chrono Drive at this situation. That's 6 priority. I can clash that. I should Chrono Drive right now. And unless my opponent plays Excited Grasp, which only deals 1 damage, I should win this game. I'm gonna pressure my opponent by forcing them to anti-priority as well. It seems that my opponent has dodged, so I will not commit anything more. No! So here's a cool interaction, because my start to beat effects are
Ooh, what's that?
Close. It says close. It says close, not advance. It says close, not advance. It kind of makes me a bit mad, but that's fine. Here's an odd situation.
What should it be?
I actually should go here and let myself get hit for 3.
No escape.
So why would I do
To
this?
maximum.
Why would I do this and not just completely dodge the attack?
Underestimate you.
Because by staying at this range, my opponent will not be able to dodge me next beat. And I have an unclashable attack. Oh wait, she has sympathetic. What am I thinking? See, this is my problem with like fighting against 7, my friends. I can just play Eternal Shot here and it's almost entirely
This one
safe.
plays out.
I will also anti-power. That way my opponent will drop down to 1 HP. So there's a few things that she could still do. Ah man, she could also sympathetic absorption. These are things that I did not like truthfully consider when doing this entire play. I forgot that 7 could do a multitude of things like this, and you know, that just goes to show the experience that you need to have in specific matchups. Because as 7, sorry, as Rifflum, I don't have to worry about any of these things. I just go like, so what if you dodge me? So I will anti-power on top of Eternal Shot. Eternal Shot is an effective stun guard of 3 plus 3, so that's 6. I don't think my opponent can do much against it. So unless this is sympathetic absorption, nope, it is indeed the sympathetic dodge. Quite a failing on my part. But now my opponent has to essentially be here or here for next beat without any soak styles. And this usually means that I win. In my opinion, my opponent should... Okay, I think that was also still a wrong play. So I think my opponent should have gone to this space in the back. Because not only does she not have these 2 moves, she doesn't have sympathetic or dodge. She doesn't have remote or burst. She no longer has any start of beat movement. And that's troublesome for her. And I think all of my moves are faster. So I think the Fusion Grasp would win me the game. So I shall do it. I think there's nothing that she can do to win this beat. This is priority 7. It deals 3 damage by anti-ing Force Guard power.
No problem at all.
Force Gauge power. Force Guard?
Let's see how this one
This just goes to show how powerful Luke is, because I have no idea what I'm doing. But everything I do just seems to work for some reason. So I will anti 1 time. This will give me +1 priority, which will bring me up to priority 7, which makes me unclashable, ironically, against 7, because 7 can't go beyond 6 priority with her stat spread.
Hooray!
Now she's going priority as well. I will go priority.
You're far too slow.
You're far too slow. And I have to anti-power, because if she plays Terrified, I can't move her. And I can't proc Fusion. Yeah. So I think the big mistake is my opponent did Remote Burst. And, like, removed all of her counter Luke options from the board. So I think this is a win on my end. Great game, Mello. Absolutely a fun game. So I will deal 5 damage at priority 9. That's kind of crazy. So we will push 1 space. And then opponent at the edge of the arena takes 2 damage. Sorry, 2 life loss, and then I hit. Oh no!
I think you've learned a valuable lesson.
No, I think Luke has taught you a valuable lesson, 7. An absolutely valuable lesson. Alright, so we will move on to the next screen for the post-game analysis. So that pretty much does it for that game against 7. I think the big thing here that you have to understand is that 7 was not using dodges, bursts, and remotes enough. And they didn't use reserved enough. Actually, the 1 beat wherein they did use reserved, I was able to perform a very powerful attack that knocked them out of reserved. And I think that was the key to that matchup. All of Luke's attacks are range 1. And he just has a lot of movement to compensate for it. So the big problem is that reserved. If I can't get adjacent to 7, I can't do anything. So it was very, very fortunate that I was able to knock her out of it and make her go to excited. And that's just the key to this kind of matchup. especially when you're a character like 7, is that when you mess up one of your tools that are so important to the matchup, it's basically really, really hard to come back from something like that. Compound that with the fact that Luke is quite a powerful character, capable of dealing so much damage. I think there was a lot of beats where my opponent could have done things to make it a bit more even. For example, during that beat where they did the Undaunted Strike, they could have antied Stun Guard in response to my power, so that they were able to retaliate for 6 damage. That way at the last beat, it would have been 3 life to 3 life, right? So at the end of the day, I think both me and my opponent made some mistakes. However, their mistakes just ended up being way more costly than mine. And that's just the key to Luke's gameplay. Ultimately, Luke is a character about safety and pressuring the opponent. And by pressuring the opponent, Luke actually ensures his own safety because opponents start playing around all of his attacks and in the end end up playing subpar attacks that most of his above average stats can usually deal with. So that pretty much does it for this episode of Making Connections. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please share it with a friend and please give it a like and comment in the comment section down below. If you like the game BattleCON Online and like what you saw, tell a friend and download the game yourself by clicking the Steam link in the description down below. Without much else to say, don't forget your special action and thank you, World of Indians. Thank you and good night.